Hi, my name is Sarah Benson, and I'm the copyright librarian at the University of Illinois Library. Today I want to talk to you about copyright for educators, and specifically Section 110.1 and the exception for teaching and copyright. You should already know the copyright basics. For works produced today, protection is automatic once the creative work is fixed or written down or recorded, and the bundle of copyrights lasts a long time, the life of the author plus 70 years. This begs the question, if you own so many copyrights, don't others? And sub-questions such as, what if the content is placed on the internet? Does that waive copyright protection? No. And how can I legally use the work of others when I teach? Don't despair. You can use things when you teach. There are many exceptions to copyright protection, including things that have fallen into the public domain, things that have been licensed to the public through Creative Commons licensing, copyright exceptions, fair use, and of course, asking for and receiving permission from the copyright owner. Today, we're going to talk about a specific copyright exception, the copyright exception for teaching under Section 110.1 of the Copyright Act. This exception permits the use of audiovisual and images, and any work for that matter, in face-to-face classroom use so long as the material was obtained from a legal source. Let's look at the actual language. Section 110.1 says, the following are not infringements of copyright. Performance or display of a work by instructors or pupils in the course of face-to-face teaching activities of a nonprofit educational institution in a classroom or similar place devoted to instruction. Let's talk about this a little more specifically. So if I, a teacher, perform or display any kind of work that includes music, audiovisual work, movies, images such as art historians showing images of famous artists, those are all protected as long as it's face-to-face teaching activities. What does that mean? That means when students are enrolled in a course and they're physically in the classroom in a nonprofit educational institution such as the University of Illinois. Now, this also applies, as you'll see, to pupils, so my students can also display these things in the context of the face-to-face teaching. It continues, though, and says, unless, in the case of a motion picture or other audiovisual work, the performance or display of individual images is given by means of a copy that was not lawfully made under this title, and that the person responsible for the performance knew or had reason to believe was not lawfully made. So, if I have a bootleg copy of a movie that I really should know is not lawful, I cannot show that during class. But let's say I own a copy of a movie and I'd like to show it during class. That's a legal copy. I bought that legally. Or if I borrow it, for instance, from the library and show it during class, that's also a lawful copy. An audiovisual work is defined as works that consist of a series of related images which are intrinsically intended to be shown by the use of machines, together with accompanying sounds, if any. Basically, we're talking about movies and things like that here. What about just posting images for fun in the course of a lecture? Let's say I have slides and I want to put cute cartoon clips in my slides for interest. Well, let's look back at the definition. The performance or display of a work by instructors or pupils in the course of face-to-face teaching activities. If I am teaching at the time when I'm showing those clips, my interpretation would say that's an okay use of this exception. In other words, it doesn't have to meet a more stringent test of fair use or be related necessarily to your teaching if it's in the course of your teaching. But does that apply if I email my slides to my students? Now we're not in the course of face-to-face teaching, and we'd have to do a fair use analysis. Also, it does not apply to online teaching because you're not face-to-face in a classroom. This is a very broad exception, but it's also narrowed by the context. You have to be meeting in a classroom or other location that's similar for face-to-face teaching instruction for this to apply. If you still would like additional guidance on this exception, you can check out guides.library.illinois.edu/copyright reference guide. Thanks for watching.